Okay, welcome back to Saga of Tanya the Evil Anime Review, episode number 4. This reviewing the series so far only film. And the studio who made it, Newt. This is the only one they've ever done. And the movie came out just a year ago. Yeah, so pretty much with this particular film, it adapts from book 4 and a little bit from book 3. Yeah. Movie starts off basically kind of not exactly where we left off in the series per se. It's just basically Tanya's group just fighting the remains of the Free Republican Army in the desert, destroys their headquarters pretty easily. They go home and of course they have to deal with the Russian Federation. The Russian Federation is what they call them in this movie. Yep. This particular country is, it's pretty much the USSR at this point in time. And yes, in case you're wondering, who is the leader of the country? Why, it's Joseph Stalin, a guy who was leader for a long freaking time. And even though his first name was slightly different, he's still Stalin. And his right hand man is based upon, believe it or not, a real life pedophile. Yes, I am not kidding. His name is Loria. Yep, this guy is based upon a real life pedophile. Despite the fact he was actually good at his job when it comes to the military, man, was guy despised. Why? Because he had a reputation for raping women. A lot of them. And I'm thinking, why wouldn't Joseph Stalin publish because damn good at his job, though he made sure to keep him away from his daughter? Yep. That's one thing Brady gets hit by Joseph Stalin, not to keep his children away from the freaking pedophile. Now, don't have a big problem with this, as I did with My First Girlfriend's a Gal, because two reasons. One, this guy is an actual villain, and two, he is based upon a real life person. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with this. Because he existed probably this period of time, and I'm surprised they don't have Rasputin here. Yeah. Now, right after they deal with that, they basically are sent to the Eastern Front to deal with some forces from the Russian Federation, and Tony comes with an interesting idea to attack their capital. Yep, and after some consideration, her plan is actually approved, though it's meant as a distraction. So her group go to Moscow. Yeah, here's something interesting though about the city. Now, in the movie, it's basically called Moscow. In the light novel, it's Makarov. Yeah, I'm not really sure why they changed the name of the city from the book to film. It's particularly quite strange. Now, I'm watching English sub for the movie because there's no English dub for this movie yet. And I watched this movie along with the actual series on Crunchyroll. Yep, I actually watched this on Crunchyroll. So yes, a legitimate video source. A lot of the time, usually some pretty legitimate, pretty fair site, but not a pirated site. But this is a real legitimate site. Yep. And when they get there, they decide to basically unleash hell on the frickin' city. They destroy the headquarters of secret police. They destroy a couple statues. They destroy a palace that actually, I don't believe it's actually in Moscow. Yeah, I think this palace, which apparently is supposed to be the Kremlin, they don't say it's the Kremlin in the movie, which is quite strange. Yeah, there's no mention of the Kremlin at all. Despite the fact in the light novel, it basically appeared for like one page, where they had a tough time taking out one of the walls, and Tanya comments, now they mentioned about the whole thing about Red Square, and her group was like, what is Red Square? And she's like, oh crap, I actually found something that exists from my world. Yeah, Moscow had a plaza called Red Square. It's one of the most common places people think of when people think of Moscow. In the movie, it's referred to as Moscow Square, not Red Square. And like they destroy this, he's like, this place, this is here too. Oh, it's something else in my world. So she goes, hey, destroy this piece of crap. Says, Roger, destroy the piece of crap right now. Though she refers to a different word, I'm not going to say, but yeah, an ugly statue. Yeah, they destroyed two of them. A small one and a big one. I don't know if this big statue exists in real life, but I would not be surprised given how much of an ego I've heard that Joseph Stalin had in real life. Yeah, the man had an ego. Oh yeah, and it was during this period, during this whole rampage throughout Moscow. This is where Laura first sees Tanya. And by the way, his dialogue is almost spot on, like from the actual like, novel. Like he's like, I want her. He's like drooling at her, like because she's actually right above him, like in the freaking sky. Tanya does not see him at all. Like she does not see that a pedophile is looking at her. Yeah, and this guy lusts after her. And I'm like, dude, get yourself a girl around your age. Don't go after a little girl just because she's pretty. Yeah. And everybody's like shocked. They're like, not only destroys the military, they also basically a lot of politicals. This is basically like a lot more damage they did when they destroyed the capital of Dhaka. Yeah, when they attacked the capital of Dhaka, all they did was take out an armor factory. Here, they pretty much ravaged half the freaking city. And then we have soldiers from the Unified States here as well. Yeah, the United States in this continuity is referred to as the Unified States. The UK is the Allied Kingdom. And one of the members, her name is Mary Sue, the daughter of Anton Sue, who from the actual series who Tanya killed at the Battle of Orsra, I think it is. It's someplace near Norway. And she hops on a metal broomstick, goes up to Tanya, launch attack on her, though she has a rematch with her later. Though it's a brief battle, but they leave and, well, then they go off to, like, they go back to relax. And they also do take time before they leave to film a propaganda film. Now this is actually from the light novel, though it's a bit more actually. They have some details here, like Tanya's telling Bosch that because she knows that she's actually from here. It's like, can you show me around, please? She's like, sure. They don't show it at all. Oh, and I should point out though, and I thought this was really strange. Okay, on Wikipedia, this movie is listed as a runtime of 1 hour and 55 minutes. Crunchy Time's runtime for this movie is 1 hour and 38 minutes. Why in the world they cut out nearly 15 minutes of the movie? No idea, but that's Crunchyroll for you. Yeah, and they actually cut out another thing from this scene. Well, aside from cutting out the mention of the Kremlin, they also cut out the scene I thought was really cool in the light novel. And she's like, hey, can you find some, like, basically, because our communication thing is in her collar, which, that technology, I don't know if it actually existed in the 1920s, but it would be cool actually, like, hey guys, can you go find me some like, because they're like, okay, we gotta do a big statement, we gotta plant a flag. And it was like, oh crap, we forgot the flag. Like, okay. What about the propaganda? I'm sure that the Russian Federation probably has a copy of our flag. Like, okay, find a film studio, raid for its equipment, and get me a flag. We're gonna film ourselves a propaganda film. Yep, that's kind of how the conversation went in the light novel. In the movie, it's like, okay, we have to film a propaganda scene for the film because basically known for producing like anti-empire propaganda film. This is a pro-empire propaganda film. And Tanya's like, I'm going to direct this movie, and my subordinates are the stars. Okay, fine. Yeah, and this is basically just before Mary Sue shows up to attack Tanya. And after this, they basically, and of course, they have a bet, like if you win this, everybody gets a chance to drink from Captain Weiss's alcohol collection, which when he shows is like, okay, for an officer basically of his salary, he says, man, you have kind of a decent sized alcohol cabinet. He's like, it's my alcohol, I can drink it whenever I want to. And of course, everyone's drinking, and of course, Tanya doesn't drink, and of course, what does she drink? Orange juice, because she's a little girl. Why not? Yeah. So, everyone gets drunk, and then they get orders they have to leave. So basically, she kind of breaks the bar, which apparently all of her men decide to believe or not because they all got drunk. They all slept there, It's like, okay, we'll begin the briefing when you're all ready. So basically, they got two sets of orders. They have to go to the north, deal with some Restoration troops, or deal with the city. Like, okay, we're going to the city, make our. Okay, Tanya's like, okay, how about we go to the city, make it our base, and then we'll go to the north. They're like, cool. And I thought this was really cool, the fact that her adjutant basically is so smart at this. She basically moves to basically Tanya's step stool, basically a box, move over to the map because she knows she's short. So she can basically point to where she wants us to go, want her troops to go to. And you at least got praise the fact she's actually pretty smart at that. And I don't know if that was from the light novel, but that was really cool the fact they did it. So they go there and they pretty much help save the city, no problem. And they establish base operations. Now, there's also another slight change here. Tanya mentions that because she doesn't have like regular clothes to sleep in, she sleeps in her uniform. In the movie, she sleeps in a nightgown. I kind of get the reason why they changed this because it'd be kind of awkward to sleep in a regular bed wearing your uniform. Especially since there's a lot of pointy stuff like your freaking metal. Yep, so basically she's woken up and while she's sleeping, she's sleeping in her bed and she's like in her nightgown. Her adjutant basically wakes up and says, we're under attack by the Rust Federation. Gets everybody up and then we have, like, of course, Mary Sue is there on a different, not a bell broomstick this time. This time she's on flying skis. And instead of attack, of course, her group is or attack the enemy headquarters. She's like, no, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna go after the woman who killed my father. And I thought this was a really cool sequence. It's like, okay, that one's coming after me, so everyone else, but my lieutenant, go after everybody else. And then we come to the coolest sequence of the whole movie, which I think they must have pulled this from Attack on Titan. They must have basically, either Attack on Titan took inspiration from the scene when the scene was made, or they probably ripped off that, because the scene is shot very similarly to the Uprising arc, basically, that was shown in the third season Attack on Titan last year. Yeah, it's a very similar sequence of Tanya and Mary Sue fighting across the frickin' city, and you see, like, the cityscape basically right behind them, and they're basically fighting back and forth. They even beat the crap out of each other in the sky, and eventually it ends up at a church, where Mary Sue basically because, of course, they have Tanya lying on her side, and, of course, then Mary Sue walks over to her, puts her basically laser flame, like, face up, and then she proceeds to beat the crap out of her. And thank God they don't show the fullness of this, because I'm sure for a lot of people they find this. So basically, like, she walks over to an angel, thinks she's talking to God, so she proceeds to try to shoot. She's going to shoot Tanya, but look how Tanya basically has a knife. Stabs her right in the back, and then she proceeds to shoot her 4 times. And she's about to shoot her in her head, to put her out of misery, and then her colonel shows up, Colonel Drake, that's his name, Colonel Drake, saves her, and then basically gets away, and of course she's in his form, like, oh, like, the Federation troops are withdrawing. He's like, what? He's like, I can still fight. Now, unknown she get punished after this because I didn't read book 5 yet. So, she goes back at the successful victory, and she proceeds to basically request transfer request to basically work in the rear and work on research. And she puts out a very good argument about the fact that we need to rethink our strategy, because if we go to war with Russian Federation, we have to occupy it. And since it's a very large country, we need to basically fight this. And basically, as mentioned, the Unified States, that we need to make sure we don't have to basically, we need to prepare for a world war. So Hans is like, okay, I'll grant your request, and I'll give you 2 months to do your research. Okay, and of course she's having a nice cozy job. Of course, they jump ahead 2 months later after the credits, and of course, after she basically gets back to her place, she's basically dancing for joy. She gets to go to the rear. And then we have the closing, and then we have the credits, which has the music from the show, which that was so good. I'm surprised they actually had the opening theme song from the show, which that would be something how the movie opened up with, because that theme song was awesome. I loved it. And I'm glad they had the ending theme song from the show in the movie, because that was good as well. And then we have the post-credits scene, where you have everybody just playing cards. And Tanya's like, drinking this coffee, blushing, and like, this is so heaven. Got myself a nice comfy desk, no need to worry about. And then the phone rings. It's Hans. It's like, hey, we're gonna do your request, and of course, I should point out though she's at this point promoted Lieutenant Colonel. Yeah, this by far, if I looked at the line, this is her last known promotion she's done to date, because as far as I know, she hasn't taken any other promotions. She was major since book one, and of course she got promoted several times in book one, and it's something though that now she was a major since book one, and for like 2 books, no raise in rank, and book 4 she gets promoted Lieutenant Colonel, and I bet she feels so happy she's Lieutenant Colonel. So, yeah. And of course, she gets a phone call and say, we're going to approve your request and we're going to start a new unit with you in charge of it. We'll codename it, basically, Salamander. And you're going to get yourself not only infantry, armory, tanks, everything. Basically, they're giving him her own small private army with basically her magical talent as the core of it. And it's like, good luck, and we need you out there soon. Hangs up, and she's like, no! Okay, kind of a strange way to end the movie, but this movie is utterly fantastic. I loved it. It's something, though, the movie, I think maybe the movie was missing a good, I say, because this was an hour and 38 minutes. Here's kind of the strange thing about this. Before they get to the credits, that actually stops at hour 29 minutes in, and then a couple minutes of credits, and we have this brief sequence which lasts about 5 minutes, and then we have like 2 minutes, like a few minutes of credits, and that's it for the movie. Yeah, it's like this movie may have cut out, like, and this is my personal guess, maybe there was a scene they had to cut from the actual English release of this movie, though for the English sub release over here. It seems that they cut out, like, because it's apparently supposed to be an hour 55 minutes, it's an hour 38. I think they must have cut out, like, I think it was like about 17 minutes. I'm not sure what it was they cut out, but they must have cut out something that, or the fact that maybe Wikipedia lied about the runtime, because Wikipedia is known for doing that. But a lot of the time, when I've seen runtimes Wikipedia, they're usually pretty spot on. This is actually the first movie that I've watched where they actually were incorrect about the runtime. By about 17 minutes. No, I don't have any idea why this is. And this is the second movie in a row from a series basically I've been watching where, because the fact that even though I had watched the entire series dubbed, the movie was never dubbed yet. And this has happened a few times, movies I've watched, where I had to watch them subbed because there was no dub release. Like before I watched this movie, or even Konosaba, the last known time this happened to me, where even though there was movies for the series, but they haven't dubbed yet, was Hunter x Hunter. That was the last known time this happened. And I do own I own the second film on DVD, but I don't own the first one. No, I don't. But I did read online that this movie did gross 400 million yen in Japan, which I looked up basically how much that equivalent in US dollars. That's roughly $4 million, which that's actually not bad, though I kind of understand that this movie did get an English release, like a dub for it. I'm sure Crunchyroll probably is planning on releasing this dubbed, because they do have the license to release it, but so far they haven't. I don't know why, but they haven't. But who knows? It all depends on when Crunchyroll decides to release it. Yep, so that's it for this particular review. Now there's still one more review I want to do for this review series. That's part of my episode review, and that's review the Kappa series for this one. Yeah, there actually is one basically similar to what they did for Overlord. You know, where the characters are shorter and it's different animation style. Yeah, that's the only thing left to go for animation-wise to go for this series. Aside from that, the only thing left to go is just review, like, officially 2 light novels. Yeah, there is about 2 more for this series. Yeah, there's like 5 and 6 now. Officially, it's been 12 released overall. But here, only the first 6 have been released over here. Yeah, book 7 is going to come out, I believe it's going to be next month. Yeah, I might review those 2 at a later date, so yeah. That's it for this particular review. Now, in case you're curious though, because I'm kind of almost finished with Saga of Tanya Evil, what is my next review series after the Kappa series for This one, ReZero. Why? Because like with Instant Quartet, it reunited my interest basically in that particular series, just like it basically having interest in this one. So yeah, I'm gonna watch ReZero, and this one will probably be longer than my last several anime review series. It'll be like 4 or 5 videos. This will be probably close to about 12, 15 videos because there's a lot to do for this series. But that'll be something in the near future. But the next video is going to be a review of the newest chapter of Boruto. And I'm looking forward to talking about this one, okay? See you next video. Bye.